It's not stated in the CHAP guidelines on the website.
Okay, well, it is.
But it doesn't say that. Okay.
It's individually listed on the National Register, and it's a designated Baltimore City.
But under your guidelines for the special list, it says that if you're on the special list, you're not eligible for historic tax credit.
That's a different designation. It's special list.
We're on the special list.
Correct, I understand that. Laura Perkins?
Hi, my name is Laura Perkins. I live down the street from the Senator. I've been volunteering to help keep it operating there for about a month. And I've been writing about it on my blog as well, AstroGirlGuides.com. I am very concerned that the actions of this commission to impose interior controls have already scared off potential Senator Theater buyers and investors and scuttled private sector solutions to its continued operation while costing taxpayers nearly $1 million in a recession when the city is having severe budget problems. Don't get me wrong, I have no problem with the city investing money to save this beautiful historic landmark theater for future generations. My concern here is that the timing of these controversial actions by the CHAP Commission have forced the city to spend money it was not previously willing to spend back when that money would have been more helpful. Also, by threatening to slap untested, ill-defined, prohibitive restrictions on the interior spaces of the privately owned building, so close to a foreclosure auction, this commission may once again be frightening away legitimate bidders who may have good intentions with regard to the Senator's preservation. Does the city really intend to spend taxpayer money on this when a private solution might be better for the Senator and the community? Senator owner Tom Kiefaber has publicly stated his desire to see the Senator's ownership transition to a community-based nonprofit, which is an enlightened, reasonable aim given that historic theaters are run using such a model all over the country. This is clearly the model that makes the most sense for the Senator, whatever the steering committee's nonsensical recommendation. Such a nonprofit would have the long-term preservation of the building at the core of its charter, and then there would be no need for this commission's hasty and troubling actions. There is no reason at all to force new interior controls on the Senator under the current owner, whose family has admirably preserved and protected the Senator for 70 years, and who unquestionably holds its best future interests close to its heart. If this commission has the power it claims to put such restrictions on the interior of the building, what is the verdict? In fact, if the city makes good on its stated intention to buy the theater at auction, it could impose these interior restrictions when it actually owns the building. If this move to control the interior spaces of the Senator were to be made at some future time, when either the city owns the building or the interior is actually threatened, the action by CHAP would gain broad public support. As it stands now, there is no immediate need for this action, and the timing so close to the auction, as well as other factors, make it seem manipulative and suspicious, whatever the intent. Finally, the CHAP Board's Rules of Procedure state in Section 4.4, no member shall vote on a matter in which he or she has personal involvement. How does this board define personal involvement? Surely Mr. Embry, who has been directly involved in the Senator's finances and an attempted Able Foundation foreclosure before in his role as president of the foundation, and who has a long-standing personal connection to a developer who has publicly expressed interest in the Senator, has personal involvement here. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Thomas Harris.
I'm a longtime patron, a volunteer, and an advocate for the theater. I've been a patron of the Senator since the mid-'80s. As I have related to many friends, family, and even passing acquaintances, not only is this theater the only one in which I've never encountered a problem while watching a motion picture, I challenge anyone to find the same sense of atmosphere and welcome as I've experienced in these 20 years. In 2007, when the theater's finances were in dire straits, I was encouraged by CHAP's move to protect the facade of my favorite movie house. I'd already lost my childhood favorite, the Grand Theater, in the Highlandtown, Canton area, to demolition. And initially I was heartened by the announcement of the newest proposals. However, I spent quite a bit of time discussing these moves with theater staff, as well as other patrons, community and business association members, and I now wonder what true benefit can come of this. I welcome the board to correct and enlighten me, but it is my understanding that the following points are true. Requests for such protection from CHAP are initiated by the owner of the target property, in this case, Mr. Thomas Kiefaber, yet Mr. Kiefaber did not request this action. The special list designation would remove historical tax credits that would otherwise be available, and I don't see how this serves the best interest of the next owner. The theater is the only building in the city that has been targeted for the interior special list. Any changes desired by the next owner beyond simple maintenance would first require an application and approval from this board, who could take up to half a year to make a decision. Mr. Kiefaber has a 20-year record of fighting to preserve his grandfather's nearly 70-year-old theater. If this board indeed has the power to wield to impose these restrictions without consent of the property owner, without the consent of members of its neighborhood, its community, I'm prompted to ask, why is the need so immediate? Given all this, it came as no real surprise to discover that not one but two prospective buyers, already in negotiations with Mr. Kiefaber at the time this proposal was announced, saw this as a very negative development, and thus their interest in saving the theater evaporated. We are now left with the mayor's plan to purchase the theater, a plan that necessitates using taxpayer money in our current economic situation as the only foreseeable hope to save this jewel in the city's crown as a historical, cultural, community, arts, and education venue. For that matter, if the city plans succeed and they become the next owner of the center, I believe the intention is to either sell or lease the theater to a qualified operator. Is there any reason that these proposals won't have the same negative effect on the next round of potential owners or operators? The city, as owner of the once vital Mayfair Theater on Howard Street, wasn't able to find a qualified owner or operator even without restrictions on the interior. In 1998, the roof collapsed, crashing all the way to the basement, and it has sat in ruin for more than a decade. Finally, I believe someone is going to renovate it, but as apartments and retail space, not as a film or arts venue. This is not the fate I, nor anyone to whom I have spoken, wish to see passed on to the center. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So to answer your questions, yes, the interior special list and interior landmark designation consideration was initiated by the Commission, and that's within our procedures. I already addressed the tax credit. The senator is eligible for tax credit. The exterior is on our special list. It's also a Baltimore City landmark currently, and it's also individually listed on the National Register. So the National Register listing and City Landmark listing make it eligible for tax credits currently.
So only the building that is solely on the special list,
correct,
would then not be eligible.
Correct.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.